So thank you, Runa, for making my life tough by inviting at last, because almost everybody has shared everything which is there in learning and development space. Okay, that was a joke only, bad joke probably. So point is this, we started this evening with a fabulous keynote by Musarraf sir. Musarraf sir, what he did, actually, he created a broad canvas when he started speaking about the economy, business, and how the changes in political world, economic world, then social world, which we can say demographic changes that is impacting our work culture. And then he created a beautiful linkage between changes to the workplace changes and the requirement of the skills. That was amazing. Then Ritu, who shared with us what tools, techniques, and what all methodology she is using at Canon. And then we move towards Manikandan, who shared with us like how to help a learner who is lost to get an exact way of learning himself also. Nitin spoke about business, how to connect your learning and development initiatives with business. Until unless you understand the pain of the business, you cannot design a wonderful program. And at last, Mr. Girish, he shared beautifully what all can be done with the help of learning and development. So some of the pieces which are coming to my mind, which I'm assuming that most of the participants, viewers, those who are investing their precious evening time with us, I'm going to share those things, Runa, if you allow me. Uh, so I would love to speak about the intent a learning and development guy should have in his mind. So I would begin with double loop learning. What is this double loop learning? What do we do at the workplace? We have a problem or a challenge. We do something to answer that challenge or to answer that problem. We get success or we get certain feedback, and we change ourselves, our way of working, and once again move in that way. Double loop learning says, in the first place, take a back step. Think about why this has been demanded like this only. For example, one of the quality heads in one of my organizations said, could we please create quality consciousness amongst my people? So I just sat with him and asked, from where this need is coming? What is that which made you think like this? And why do you think like that quality consciousness is not there? No? So taking a step back, what is not working? What three key things you want to see by any intervention which is going to decide the success of that intervention. So if we are having that intent in the beginning itself, probably we can start our journey to find the ROI. I believe no, no seminar, symposium, or learning and development can get away without talking about ROI, return on investment. Okay, so fine. So begin your intent with double loop learning. Challenge the assumption from where it's coming. Believe me, sometime the kind of demand which comes from the businesses, means business heads or function heads, they are going to have entirely different meaning for them and entirely different assumption what they were carrying in their mind. Hence, challenging assumption is very, very important for all of us. Good enough, I heard about social learning, and that's fantastic. I would urge all of the participants go and Google a term called SECI model, SECI, SECI model, which is one of the best models to explain how you can understand social learning and implement in your organization. Okay, so SECI model is SECI, which speaks about how to socialize certain knowledge part which you want to be understood by your people in your organization. Then how to externalize, with what kind of platform you can create to externalize them. Then how to combine knowledge from different quarters which is coming back. If that taking feedback mechanism is not proper, then social learning is going to have the breakage. And then to internalize, okay? Socialize, then externalize, then combine and internalize is going to complete the whole loop of social learning. You can Google, you will get a lot many research papers on that as well. Otherwise, if you need To understand how to implement, probably you can be in touch with Digital HR, which is doing a great job in the field of serving the HR fraternity or L&D fraternity in a great way. Okay. Second thing, if we understand the fundamentals of design thinking, then it's going to unburden unnecessary baggage which L&D people are carrying on their shoulders. Meaning by we create many of the programs based our own assumptions, okay? And the person who is asking us to create certain intervention or at the larger platform, if you are converting or developing your organization as a learning organization, which is the necessity, as Musarrat sir shared, that how VUCA is the word, and COVID proved that to all of us, if we are not empathizing with various stakeholders, okay? So in design thinking, people believe that we are working for the client, but as L&D head, we are working for various stakeholders. We are probably participant is one of the beneficiaries, not the stakeholders. Your real stakeholder is your business head. Another stakeholder is the function head. Another stakeholder is the head of the department who is interacting with you in order to find the solution of a challenge which he is facing. As Nitin rightly said, if we don't understand business, then designing anything is not going to be fruitful. Okay, coming back on design thinking, empathizing means you are not only understanding what is being articulated to you, what is being sought after, but how do you understand unarticulated need of the most important stakeholder. You can Google, there is one tool which is called FSDP, 5-step discovery process. So with the help of that, you can empathize with people logically and intuitively. You can balance the need of your various stakeholders by designing a beautiful intervention for the same. When I say beautiful, every intervention is beautiful which serves the purpose and helps that problem to be solved. So first thing is empathize. Then you are going to design or co-create things with the people, those who are looking for it, means with the various stakeholders, okay? For that, you must have a tool, the combination of tools which I used in my life and got a lot of benefits. You must know, as of today, all L&D people must know the art of facilitation, okay? Meaning by when you're designing, you go inside the room with the stakeholders without having any kind of content in your mind. And when you come out, you should have the outlining of the content in your mind written by the various stakeholders, okay? That is the most beautiful thing. If you learn various tools which are around DICO models, meaning diversion and conversion, there may be around 30, 40 tools you can find. So you write down one thing, DICO model, which will help you finding the tools to co-create the programs for yourself, okay? So first thing is empathize. Second thing was designing and applying facilitation tools so that when you go inside the room with a process, without content, and come out of the room with the content written by the various stakeholders for you. Okay, then how do you do prototyping? Of course, if you are a large organization, then do experimentation with a small unit of yours and see what kind of results you are getting, how to bring necessary changes in that. Okay, so till now I have shared with you what intent L&D guy must have. Intent is very, very simple. That is double loop thinking. And the underlining of double loop learning is challenging the assumption. Design thinking, empathize with the stakeholders, and the crux in designing is empathizing with the various stakeholders and knowing and applying the tools of facilitation. Okay, and that's very, very, very important. One thing which helped the organization wheresoever I worked in my life, that was creating various platforms. Okay, that's the part of knowledge management. In today's world, each learning and development guy must know how to do knowledge management. As Runa was wondering how Maruti is creating a big, like library of knowledge or academy, that can only be done with the help of the principles which are applied in knowledge management. So L&D guy has to learn, understand what are the basic tenets of knowledge management. Okay, coming back to the main point. When we talk about ROI, I know that we are running short of time. When we talk about ROI, the most important thing is this: how well defined is the problem? Number one. Number two, how well defined are the objectives of any intervention, and whether each objective can be written down with the help of a number or comparison in any way. If you are unable to find a number, believe me that you can't calculate ROI at all. You can't calculate ROI at all. And that's perfectly okay. In the book written by Jack Phillips, the name of the book is ROI Itself. He says that not all the programs, not all the interventions are meant to measure return on investment. If you know how to jot down, how to collect, uh, uh, one is like tangible, other one is intangible. What are the intangible outcome of this program, then it's also okay. But tangible or intangible benefit, they should be jotted down in the beginning of the program at the time of creating the conception, and that too with the agreement of the stakeholders. Because stakeholders walk into the room of L&D guy, he says, I want a program on leadership development. You say, I'm going to develop a robust program, robust intervention, and both of you never decide what's the meaning of robust. We quite often speak very vague language. Avoid that. Avoid that. And if it is going to be vague, it should be mutually accepted by you and the stakeholder. That is what is going to save your life in the long run. So friends, being there in L&D space is one of the noblest thing, I believe. I have been there for more than 24 years, and we get all kind of experiences there. Means we people come and praise us. People, they say, yeah, we are not doing anything. But believe me, if you apply double loop learning, if you apply the principle of design thinking, if you bring clarity in the beginning itself, what can be measured and what can't be measured, objectives are clearly written, I know that you can do wonders everywhere in your life. Fine. So this is from my side. I believe more interesting would be if we pick some of the questions and start replying from our own perspective. Runaji, thank you very much for the time. Thank you.